The main story right now, Rob, if you want to pull this up, we'll tee this off before he comes in. The main story everybody's talking about right now is what just happened with Russia. Okay, Russia and Wagner Group. Russia's put in orders military to crush Wagner Group. Grab calls it treason. Now, here's a few things you need to know about what this is. Number one, the guy behind Wagner Group is a guy named, I want to pronounce this correctly, Yevgeny Prigozhin. Okay, Prigozhin, that's his name, Yevgeny Prigozhin. He's a billionaire. It's like the Blackwater of Russia. And this guy's called his men to oust the country's military leadership, meaning he's going directly against Putin's military. So we got to oust the military leadership, and he claims the war on Ukraine was based on false pretenses. They have roughly 25,000 soldiers. Okay, these are a lot of former ex-Navy SEALs. You know, these are guys that are, you know,
mercenaries.
Like, yeah, these are not regular types of. These are people that believe in the cause of what's happening and not doing their job because they have to do their job. They're doing their job because they believe in what Yevgeny is talking about. Sometimes people like this are true believers. You know, 10 soldiers that are true believers going against 100 that are just doing their jobs. Sometimes the 10 has an edge over the other 100 because they believe exactly in what they're doing. So
Robin Hood.
Exactly. So Putin responded, the actions of Wagner Group are seen as treason. There's a warrant out for him right now. They got bombed. I think he claims they got bombed. Their unit got bombed. They're bombing some, you know, gas, different kind of places that they're taking out. Putin is telling them to get this guy here, this guy being a billionaire. You know, there's a lot of stuff that's going on right now in Russia. Do you have one of the clips, Rob, to show on what's going on there? I think there's whether it's Putin giving a speech or him giving a speech or the explosion. You know, I think one of the videos, Vinny, you may have given to him.
Yeah, see, like, because they're advancing right now towards. They're saying like they're going towards Moscow right now. Like yeah, he's advancing through the streets, and there's a bunch of vehicles blown up, and they're on to the side, and he's actually advancing there right now.
What's this here, Rob? Lower the music just so we don't have to. Is there any other thing to? So this is what? This is them pulling up to who?
Well, they took over a city called Rostov, right? Okay. And now they're basically marching towards Moscow, 25,000 soldiers. A lot of them actually recruited from prisons and penal camps. And they're basically saying that this is the most serious threat internally in Russia
essentially a civil war.
Over since 2000.
A civil war in a country that has twice the nuclear weapons we have.
And it's happening right now.
So, Alex, what are your thoughts on what's going on right now in Russia? Obviously, it's a breaking story. It's all over the place on cover of every website. This is all they're talking about. What do you know about the story?
Absolutely. I'm glad we just spent an hour and a half on me, but I was like, let's not talk about me because this, I mean, what I really do study is geopolitics. Of course, you're a special ops guy. I know your history. You're super smart. I watch your show all the time. You know what you're talking about. So I really look forward to me shutting up here and what you have to say because I'll be honest with people. I didn't talk about the submarine until Friday because I wanted to see all the pieces. And they lied to us about that. They knew it blew up on Sunday. They use it as a distraction, bare minimum. And I'm sorry for the dead. But on this subject, last night we're driving in here, and I'm seeing this news, and I'm thinking, this is so dangerous, this can't be real. And then we were out to dinner late, and I saw it last night that it looked like it was real, but I just couldn't fathom it. So I spent a lot of time this morning researching this. This is obviously very fast moving, but let me just tell listeners and viewers, and I think you'll probably agree with me, and any other mainline military analyst would. This is the most dangerous development in modern history with nuclear weapons, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, Russia has tactical nukes and intermediate range and long range weapons all over Western Russia. Their submarines are off our coast. If you know Russian history, if a leader fails a war, they always kill him. Putin is a softliner compared to the hardliners that are trying to take control. And I don't know who's working with NATO. I don't know if it is, how do you pronounce his name? I have trouble.
Yevgeny?
Yes. How do you say his last name? I always butcher it. The point is that I'm having one of those moments.
Prigozhin, this guy?
Prigozhin, yes, Prigozhin, if I'm saying it right. Prigozhin. I have trouble with the Russian. And
Prigozhin.
See, even though I'm a Russian agent, I don't know anything about it. But anyways, Prigozhin, I'm trying to draw the data up right now. Prigozhin is obviously one of these billionaire oligarchs that runs these catering companies, and he does a lot of psyops with Putin. Is reportedly Putin's best buddy, and he's a former prisoner and all the rest of it. And
he's a former friend of Putin.
Well, Putin's now saying he wants to arrest him. Yes. Well, you guys have all the latest developments. What I'm saying is this: we know that NATO has back channels with the Russian Central Command, and they're both working to not have a nuclear war behind the scenes. So the question is it the Russian? Here's the different scenarios. I want to hear your take on it. Is the Russian military working with the West? Is Prigozhin working with the West that heads up the Wagner Group? Or are neither of those sides really working with NATO, and this is really an internal power struggle? And then the other question is, well, will NATO back one of the two? And then separately, is this really the Russian military that just bombed Prigozhin and his troops? They're going to act like Prigozhin launches this attack, and then they're really going to kill Putin and then say it was Prigozhin. This is serious cloak and dagger, fog of war. I don't think Putin really knows what's going on because that's how Russia operates. It's total. Everybody works in unison until the knives come out. And right now, they're about all these different factions, all this stuff's going on. And the last time they moved the chairs around in 1999, when Boris Yeltsin disappeared, we got Putin. So I don't think we know. What we do know is Russia is now under martial law, and Moscow is under martial law. And 30,000 battle-hardened ex-convict survivors of the 60,000, half of them died, that were sent to Ukraine, who are credited with winning most of the battles, because Prigozhin says that the Central Command is working with the West and losing on purpose, and that they're trying to undermine things to take out Putin. And he says Putin needs to believe him. Now they say he's trying to come kill Putin. So Putin, we haven't seen him say this, but we've seen him in text say it, that he's going to get Prigozhin. And so I don't think we know at this point. This is unbelievably riveting. This just gives me unlimited adrenaline. I mean, I'll guarantee you I'm going to be scanning and reading and up. I'm going to go do an emergency broadcast today from the pastor's place. I've been here working the whole time, but I just absolutely have to do this. I'm glad we're here covering it. And now I'd like to hear all the latest developments from you guys, and then see what you think.
Alex, is this one of those things where they say that the enemy of my enemy is my friend? Because this guy Prigozhin, the United States has issued an arrest warrant for him in 2018. This has to do with something to do after the 2016 election. I mean, we can go there, but he's no friend of the states. They have an arrest warrant for him. So I know that you kind of alluded, like, what's the NATO's involvement here? What's going on here? Is this an internal struggle? You're absolutely right. There's
he headed up the internet.
There's more questions than answers right now.
But the average American is going to be like, oh, he's going to Putin, go get him. Americans that don't know anything are going to be cheering for this guy to get Putin out. But they have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
You just brought it to the key.
Yep.
And that's why I had to brainstorm first. There's so many pieces, and then I come up with my answer. The bottom line is Putin is a middle-of-the-road guy compared to the hardliners. Prigozhin wants martial law and nuclear war with the West. He's completely psychotic. Yeah. I've watched his videos where he says it, and he's fearless, too. He's out there on the front lines for like a year and a half. The guy's a maniac. And so, I mean, Patrick, what do you think? I mean, the bottom line is, oh, yeah, exactly. Let's get rid of Putin.
Yeah.
Then there'll be a whole new power struggle, and you'll get a much more radical Russia. What do you guys? And that's why Soros and the West were crazy 9 years ago to overthrow the Ukrainian government and then run these ops against the Russians to get them to come in. Make no mistake, I'm not for the Russians either, but the West started this.
You're basically saying, be careful what you wish for. You want Putin out of there? Who's next in line?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And for everybody that was like, Trump and Russia and all the Russia, none of this would have been happening if Trump was in. So
absolutely.
Congratulations for voting for Biden, because this is what you get.
Alex, you're saying that this guy's even more hardline, anti-West, anti-NATO than Putin?
Prigozhin is 5 times worse than Putin.
Really? How do you know that? Like, what kind of research have you done on him?
I have trouble pronouncing his name, but I've been studying him for 20 years. I knew who this guy was 20 years ago. I've watched. I mean, he's always been there. He's been Putin's right-hand man since he was president. Before that, I mean, they came up together in St. Petersburg.
What can you tell us about the essence of the Wagner Group? He heads this, but what's the whole purpose of these guys?
Well, let's do this first, and then because there's a key point I want to make here. Or give me a pen, I'll write down. I'll remember to do it. But if I don't, I'll forget. Let me answer your question. Okay, thanks. What is the Wagner Group? I'll do that, and then I'll do I forgot what I was going to say. It was key. Sorry. That's how my brain works. Prigozhin, you're asking what the Wagner Group does.
Yes.
Okay. It was started 20 years ago by Putin, roughly, as his own private mercenary army to kill people he wanted killed inside Russia with plausible deniability, and then to kill people around the world, and to go take over with mercenary forces in the third world, just like China and the U.S. does, and take resources. So they go around and pillage, and they also assassinate people for Putin.
And apparently they're currently all over North Africa, the Middle East, Syria. They were the ones that helped invade Crimea, and they're all over Ukraine right now.
They're all over Ukraine, and they've been one of the most effective forces. And Prigozhin has been saying in the last year and a half since it started, I know the weapon systems, and he's proven he's a good military commander, and I've got military guys, that he got out of prison. That's like most of his force. You're military, you're out. And a lot of these are, former special forces guys, some of the best Russian military they've got. And they're all saying the military is losing on purpose. We think they made a deal with the West and they're going to take out Putin. He's been saying that for a year. And so that's why I think they may have tried to kill Putin and blame Prigozhin. Because how does he think with 25,000 troops, if he can't take Ukraine and he's only taking some cities, how's he going to go take on the Russians that have got 10 times the force?
Rob, can you do me a favor? Just pull up the WSJ story and let's just read the whole thing. So what is Wall Street Journal that just came out? They're fairly reasonable and in the middle. What's Wall Street Journal saying? Let's just read this. So President Putin said Saturday he ordered military to act against Wagner parliamentary group that sees the Russian stomach. You got that. As Wagner columns move towards Moscow Saturday, they were attacked by Russian aircraft in the Voronezh region, some 300 miles south of the capital. Videos from the area show the city main fuel depot ablaze. A K-52 helicopter destroying a vehicle and another helicopter narrowly escaping a Wagner anti-craft missile. A Russian plane was also shot down. Okay. The crisis unfolding in Russia represents the most serious challenge to Putin's 23-year rule, a direct consequence of the strains put on Russia's society and armed forces by the war that he unleashed against Ukraine in February of last year. If the Wagner Group insurrection isn't put down swiftly, the strife could significantly undermine Russia's frontline troops in Ukraine, just as Kiev carries out a Western-backed offensive to Ukraine-occupied lands. The uprising lands of already emerging Russia society challenges Putin's strategy of waging a long war against Ukraine. Okay, so that's not saying anything.
And what Prigozhin is saying, we've withdrawn because our half our troops died to the western edge of Russia. They began to bomb us this morning. We are not advancing. This is a lie. And see, notice the footage they say they have is of fuel depots and their bases getting blown up. So the military sees them as a threat and is taking them out. But here's the larger question. And please continue, but I want your take on this. Notice the timing of this. What happened in the last 2 months? The Ukrainians launched their counteroffensive 2 months ago, not 2 weeks ago, in probes. Then they launched their main attack, and not hundreds, but 10, like 400 or 500. I've watched the videos. I spent days searching, and it's not duplicates. The Russians, it takes 3 times the troops and armor to take a position, and you know this from the military, than it does to defend it. So the Russians got torn up going in, but now the Ukrainians have got to go into their defenses. And so it got destroyed. And I've confirmed this from sources in the military, not just what was in the news. And even CNN admits, okay, the offensive got destroyed. Most of the equipment got destroyed, like half of it. They've still got half the stuff the West sent. They're sending more, but they don't have troops to operate it because you got to train them. And so the Russians just destroyed this counteroffensive. Then magically it kicks into gear for a coup against Putin. That's the next phase. If they can't drive them out and have that victory, then next we get Putin. And so again, is the high command working with the West to get rid of Prigozhin and Putin and set up their new Russia system, maybe with the West, maybe not. We don't know which group this is. The timing of that fits with the West with the Russian system cutting off Prigozhin and Putin because these guys are best friends. Now, I'm not saying that's what's happening, but you know Putin isn't sure. And so right now he's like, okay, we're going to get Prigozhin, but I think Putin's main issue is going to be his own military and his own system. Or maybe he's killing his best friend and does see him as a threat. We don't know. But the Russian defense just annihilated the Ukrainians in the last 2 months. So why is this coming now? The West would normally go to this next But this isn't overthrowing Saddam by buying off his generals. This is Russia, and this is dangerous as hell.
And this is the same week, too, that we accidentally sent them, what, $6.2 billion? The Pentagon was like,
absolutely.
Whoops, we sent Ukraine all this.
200 billion has really been sent over the last couple of years, and guaranteed half of that's coming right back to the globalists, right back to the big guy.
100%.
So here's, obviously, it's too early to tell what's really going on, but if you think about it, those who are for Ukraine, this is a beautiful thing, because what happens when it's shown that the country is divided? That's an easy way to come in and capitalize off of it.
This is horrible for Russia.
This is horrible for Russia. It's absolutely horrible.
And now the
Russia.
Ukrainians, are going to launch the next counteroffensive because they only use half their force.
Yeah.
Now the Russians don't know what the hell's going on.
The Russians going to have to withdraw some of the troops from Ukraine to go fight in Russia.
Exactly. So then who do you think's really behind this?
The
West has the motive, has the timing. I'm not saying it's that but now we have 60%. It's like a computer. 60% of the evidence with the motive, the timing, the history, the background, how the West operates says it's the West. And as we get more data, I'm not going to sit there and just get data that I want to agree with. If I get more data showing that this is what's really happening, Prigozhin tried this and it's crazy, that's a classic Russian power play, then I'll go back to, well, now it's a 60% chance that it's as we're being told. But I'm just keep taking data, and usually as I take that data, then as it gets closer, it's almost always the analysis I had. And that's how real intel stuff happens.
So what is the difference? I mean, this, you were saying, happened to Yeltsin, and now, they're on track for doing it with him as well. 23 years. He's been running it, right? We're talking about since 2000. It's been Putin running.
And he does look sick. He really has thyroid cancer.
Yeah. Do you think, so when you're saying this could be, catastrophic, et cetera, from the nuclear standpoint?
The bottom line, this is super destabilization with the #1 nuclear power in a war zone. This is just on a scale of 1 to 10. This is like a 9.8. I mean, this is like.
Because why? Because why?
Because
if he retaliates, because if Putin's like, I'm sick of it and I'm going to retaliate at Ukraine, or why
all
is
of
this?
It, exactly. They have a RAND Corporation threat ladder that's got 43 stages. Pull up the RAND Corporation, 43 stages of escalation. And this came up with this in the 60s, and it's still followed globally as doctrine. The Russians adopted this as well. And it's the stages of escalation. So it's the stages of military escalation. Yeah, there it is. And so one of the reports, they're updating it. We're already at like stage 29. Well, when you get up, in any much more, it's nuclear war. It's tactical, and it goes through what both sides do. And you've got a dictator, a strong man, all this with nuclear weapons, all these forces battling him, all this craziness. What if Putin falls? What if the whole thing disintegrates? And then where do all the nukes go? Or what's Ukraine going to do? And then other power groups, Poland's been talking about grabbing part of Ukraine that was always part of them. I mean, it's just like World War II. Once this stuff starts, it just gets out of control.
The only difference is, like, for people that hear that and sometimes they get, panic, oh my God, is this going to lead to World War III? Is this the difference, from my understanding, the difference between the access Putin has to nuclear bombs versus the way we have it? He can't just press a button and approve it. There's got to be multiple layers of approval that he has versus the way we have it, right?
Is it, Pat? Because, he's in total control.
No. That's not how it works.
Okay.
If you can pull up the nuclear protocol for Russia, there is a different layer of approval for him to choose to do something like that. Look, let's face it. From in the last 100 years, how many times has a nuclear bomb been dropped?
Twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Hiroshima, Nagasaki.
But if a guy, Pat, with dirty bombs and like little suitcase bombs, and for a guy that is dying, and a guy that's dying is pretty much, it looks like he's good. They're attacking the capital and about to take him over. Why not just be like, if I'm going down, I'm going down.
Well, here's the deal. Why do you think he just gave nukes to Belarus? That's his backup.
Oh, wow.
Rob, is that it?
It says here, following the American pattern, the unlock and launch authorization codes held by the general staff at their command centers can be sent directly to individual weapons commanders who would execute the launch procedures. The crews on board docked submarines have demonstrated the ability to fire while surfaced at pier side within 9 to 15 minutes after receiving the order. The other alternative, the general staff could direct missile launches directly from command centers in the Moscow vicinity or alternative facilities throughout the country. But it doesn't say that Putin could directly launch it himself.
The way they have it is, which I think that's the right way to do it. I don't think a nuclear call should be.
I think it's dangerous that Biden has that crazy man that doesn't know who he is could like just say launch the weapons.
I think we all know he doesn't have that. I think I don't even know if his button works. The other day he was putting his hand on his chest on the Indian national anthem.
Well, Pat, working. I was a flight security controller at Malmstrom Air Force Base, Montana, at a nuclear missile base. There's two to launch a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
There's so many stages, Pat, and then it goes down to the missileers who have to get authenticated.
No, because let me tell you what would happen if they did a nuclear. It wouldn't be what happened with Japan. It would be so many people involved. It would be back and forth.
Yeah.
Economy drops 50%. The market drops. So
it's over.
Too many people are involved to not allow this from happening.
Well, that's right. If a tactical weapon even gets used, the market drops 50%.
Yeah.
That's what the analysts believe.
Yeah.
But the point is, I'm not trying to be gloom and doom. I'm just saying Russia, with the biggest nuclear arsenal in a civil war with a major war on its border, we've got a crazy president. I'm just saying, I see all these pieces. People better be concerned.
No. And by the way, there's some rumors right now on Twitter talking about the fact that, Putin's left Moscow. I don't know if you saw that or not.
No, he did leave, yeah.
Yeah, Putin left Moscow.
Where did he head to?
He's got an armored train. They're not sure if the train left.
Alex, you know what would be interesting right now? How closely do you follow the doomsday clock?
Very closely. It's like 18 minutes to it.
Okay, I'd like to see where that's at right now.
It should have gone up. I think it was 18 minutes to last time I checked. That's the International Atomic Energy Atomic Scientists Group.
Right. How often do you check this?
I check it. I mean, it's usually in the news when it goes up, so I see it.
You're like, watch. This is my watch right here.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was 18 minutes to before. Let's see where it's at now.
It is 100 seconds to midnight, apparently.
Oh, my gosh. So I've never – okay. They just changed it, and I agree with that because it was 18 minutes. They moved it from like 20 minutes to 18, and now it's a minute and a half or less.
What can the average person do to even
explain to the average person what this means from 20 minutes to 18 minutes to 100 seconds to midnight?
And back up to where it was in 1980, 1990. So just give some context, right? He'll have some images.
Yeah.
It's 2 minutes to midnight. So 7
basically,
minutes to midnight.
the clock is getting closer and closer and closer and closer.
Minutes. Go high,
midnight.
Rob.
Midnight means
it moves up and down. Like go to the early 1960s Cuban Missile Crisis. That was like they said was the worst.
2 minutes, 3 minutes, 12 minutes. So 2 minutes. So 3 minutes to midnight is 1949. 2 minutes to midnight is 1953. Does it go any further back or no, Rob? That's it. Okay, keep going up. Let's just say go to...
It started right after World War II.
Keep going up, keep going up. So we got 7 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 6 minutes, 9 minutes, 14 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 7 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, keep going, 2 minutes. 100 seconds was 2020, 100 seconds 2021. It's still the same thing. 100 seconds 2022. So during COVID, and does it have it for today? During COVID, and now it's 100 seconds. It's not changed. Okay.
I think that's some kind of article. There's an actual clock to a press release. The point is, that's their feeling on it. I would just say this moves the clock towards it.
Has Doom's clock moved? Check to see, Rob, if the
that is scary,
Doomsday.
Well, let me ask you guys this question. If they get rid of Putin and they put a less hardline guy in, will that embolden the warmongers in D.C. to launch more crap? Because they want to go to war with China. And I don't like China, and I don't like Xi Jinping. I don't just like the Chinese people. But, I mean, I hate the communist Chinese, what they do and everything. But, I mean, they're really trying to sell a war now with China. This is getting nuts. And if they're able to defeat Russia by overthrowing Putin with a bunch of intelligence operations, I mean, this is just going to make them more hungry.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.